Hey, it's me, RJB here, and I'm back, ready to attack these snacks that are these replays between HamburgerSasu and Levi style. HamburgerSasu here on the Terran in the bottom right corner, and the bottom left corner we've got Levi style, who's up to face HamburgerSasu once again. And some of you might know Levi style. He had a really amazingly strong and impressive performance in the previous video between these two players, where Levi style managed to pretty much upset HamburgerSasu in a really great and awesome and mostly unique Zerg vs Zerg series that was honestly really fun to watch. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. I think it's one of the most fun series. The only downside is I think I had my music and game sounds on a little bit too high, so I might be a little bit hard to understand that video specifically, but nonetheless, those games are amazing. They are legitimately amazing. So let's see what both players are up to right here, because that's what we are looking at right now. So it looks like HamburgerSasu starts off with the barracks and the depot there in his choke to wall of his front. Of course, he makes the barracks here, then a depot there, and a depot here of course as well. So he has walls off the front and zealots cannot walk through. Well, soon, of course, he's going to make that second depot. First, he wants to scout the middle of the map with that SCV, make sure there's no enemies there being built on the middle, or that he can find his opponent rather soon. Because if the enemy is doing a mid-build proxy gateway, it's going to be pretty hard to defend. Because there's pretty much nothing here to defend with. Because he has to wait for the gas to make a factory, another factory, 2 factories in total he will make. That's for sure. And he'll go for vultures into tanks, into possibly dropships and starports. Kind of depends. Some players go for different options. It's all going to be coming down to what HamburgerSasu feels like doing. And Levi style here on the other side of the map starts off with a nexus into a pylon, into a nexus, into a forge, into a pylon in the front, gateway at the base, and then 2 cannons are in the front to all of his entrance, keep his opponent out. Now I'm going to scout the map here with this probe. Also, I just want to say this is probably a best of 5 set. Not too sure. Could be more, could be less. Just gambling with the amount of replays that I have in there. It might be more, it might be less. And this was played somewhere in late March or early April. One of the two, not too sure. Could be either of the two, we just have to wait and see. So that's the first factory. He's got gas for another one, but he might be going for a command center first, which is quite greedy, but it does help him get a little bit of a bigger economy. And he also does have the option to make a second factory right about now with this SCV that he's sending out there right now. Oh, no, he's not. He's going to make it with this one. Not too sure. Come on. Don't leave me hanging here to dry. He's leaving me hanging. He is leaving me hanging. Whereas Levi style, though, he's not leaving me hanging because, again, put a cybernetics core and 2 more additional gateways, which is quite an interesting switch up. This is a Citadel of Dune. I feel that's going to be Dark Templars, because there's no robo facility out there. SV dies there trying to scout. This definitely is going to be a Dark Templar build order, because I don't see a robo facility. He can't afford a robo facility right about now, and he's going to make one, I'm sure. Soon, of course. Don't leave me hanging here. He's going to leave me hanging. I bet you. Ah, there it is. There is the robotics facility. I knew it was coming. Just being a little bit late with that one. So another command center coming down here, because he knows that Levi style went for that choke on his own entrance, meaning he doesn't have that much offensive ability, so he's going for the second command center for 3 in total. And only now starting factory number 2. He didn't even make any units there to defend his front with, which is honestly, he's just completely risking it insanely, amazingly hard here. 2 zealots there out on the map trying to get some damage done, but there's a tank here behind the wall. Marines also behind the wall because Marines can slip through. Zealots are physically incapable of doing so. He's going to pull back. He's going to pull the pylon there on the top side. Probably build a proxy base there. There's the Templar's Archive. Robo facility there on the way. No support bay. Very important detail. No support bay, because he's definitely going for a shuttle into 2 or 3 Dark Templars here. He can afford 3 of them. So it has to be 3. He's going for, yeah, that's 2 Dark Templars, not 3. He could afford 3, but he went for 2. There's a support bay. And we have Dragoon range on the way there as well. Singularity charge being researched because he has to break through this front here, and he's not Gonna do that with Zealots, or at least that's what he's feeling like. So there comes the scan for HamburgerSasu, scans his portion there, scans all the tech, so he knows exactly what's going on there inside of Levi's base, so he's got information, he can prepare himself. And I'm sure he's gonna start feeling the dividends, or the returns, off of these two command centers, both with scans in case there's Dark Templars on the map. He has an engineering bay there as well. They're building turrets now there in the front, on the side, and on the top side there as well. So he's prepared for the shuttle that's going to be coming in with those two Dark Templars in there. And they're going to try to wreak havoc, but I don't think much havoc will be wrought, although there's two Zealots in there as well, which might just be a game changer. Because there's nothing here in the back, not even detection. There's only detection there on the sides and in the front. It's going to shuttle them over the wall, very cozily and friendly. Though they're not going to be that friendly anymore in the near future, because look at these two Dark Templars walking into the fray. HamburgerSasu does not know yet. Gonna start losing some SCVs there. Does he have scans? He's got 2 scans there on each of these. Well, 3 in total, 2 here, 1 here. SCVs are going down. Or lost a couple of 5 or 6 of them. He's trying to get his units there in the back so he can one-shot those Dark Templars before they can run away. And one Goliath goes down, Vulture goes down, and eventually both Dark Templars also go down, but also turrets here being taken down there on the sides because Levi is sending in his Zealots with the shuttle. More damage being dealt here. Took down 2 turrets. And, well, there's 4 Zealots still here in the base, but they're not going to do a whole lot. Units from the front there have been pulled to the back to defend. This does slow HamburgerSasu down significantly. As you can see, 37 SCVs there for him against 48 for Levi Style, who's now adding on more gateways. He does have Singularity graphitic boosters on the way. He's got, let's highlight this, graphitic boosters, which is shuttle speed. And he's got the Zealot lags on the way as well, which is actually called something because it's not showing up here on the production tab. Usually if you go to the production tab there in the bottom corner, you hover your mouse over something, it shows what it is, but it's not showing the first 3 or 4 names, so I honestly don't know what it's actually called. I completely forgot, but let's just call it Zealot lags or Zealot speed. So once again, Dragoon there in the front trying to do some damage on the barracks, but he's sieging up a tank behind the barracks, which means that Dragoons are gonna be zoned away, and HamburgerSasu is out of harm's way for now. Although he is going to be in harm's way very soon. He does have those Goliaths there ready to defend. It looks like Levi Style is setting himself up for somewhat of a delayed gratification attack style, because he does only have 1 robo, not 2, not 3. Most Protoss players go for 2 or 3 or even 4 robos, because it allows them to make more shuttles in rapid succession and send out drops more frequently without being in risk of losing that 1 shuttle, but also being able to shuttle in more units at the same time. Tries to go in with the shuttle, but the shuttle goes down immediately because there's an engineering bay there providing vision. 1 at the top side, though, just managed to make its way in. There's 2 Templars in there. HamburgerSasu not responding to it. HamburgerSasu now pulling his SCVs away from the minerals. He's trying to dodge the storm. He dodges the storm quite beautifully, but there's not a Templar there on the scene. He dodges right into this storm and loses a couple of his SCVs there. Not too many, but he does lose a couple of them. But he is, at the moment, mostly staying sound and safe. Dragoon there in the front, still trying to take down the barracks. He managed to fend off that frontal attack quite well. Although the Dragoon is outside of the range of the tanks there, because it is a barrack, it's not a depot. If it was a depot, these tanks would be able to hit it, because the Dragoon would have to move forward 1 little step. We would put it in range of this tank right there. Also took down a turret there on the top side. Another frontal attack here already on the way, trying to break through the front there, but the front is being fortified more and more as we speak. 3 tanks now, 2 bunkers there with 6 Marines in them, 1 Marine there in between barrack and the turret. It's stuck in there. There's another shuttle there finishing up. He's adding Templars to the mix there as well. Those Templars might be capable of storming these 2 tanks to death, because it takes 2 storms. He's definitely going to break through this frontal portion here, because all the units that HamburgerSasu has are there in the back. Now they are attacking on the front. The barrack is going to go down, which means that now the Zealots and those units can penetrate through the little hole that has been created there. All the SCVs there are blocking access. Medic is also blocking access, but those Dragoons are getting on top of the tanks, which means the tanks are going to go down, which now only means that there's Goliaths in the back, ready to defend. 2 tanks now rolling from the back to the front, because that's what he needs to do. He has to defend himself against his attack there. Dragoon there is taking us out of the range of the tanks, tries to kill the SCV, but SCV stays alive. Now the barrack is being built there in the front, prepared and ready and capable of keeping Levi's units out, and HamburgerSasu has some words to say about that fact. Some more units coming out there from Levi. He's got 2 shuttles there with some Zealots and a single Templar. 7 Zealots, single Templar. Going to be aiming for the SCVs there in the back. But HamburgerSasu has Goliath, with which he can snipe those shuttles, and he's going to snipe both shuttles pretty handily, pretty easily. But the Templar there on the lookout manages to unload Storms on top of the tank. Tank now on low HP. Zealots are penetrating through, trying to get on top of the tank, but they are going down before they can reach the tank. Although one tank there goes down, another Storm there comes down on Goliaths. Dragoons trying to break through, but there's too many Goliaths and tanks in the front for Levi style to break through. So he pulls back. Also, fun to note, level 1 attack damage there for Levi. Zealots there taking down turrets. And HamburgerSasu has level 1 for his mech damage upgrade. So both players are somewhat equally matched at the moment. Not a lot of damage being dealt there by Levi. He's now adding on even more support base because he knows he has to ramp up his shuttle play if he wants to break through and deal damage to his opponent. Also do note only a single cannon there. And in the case HamburgerSasu goes for a dropship, he can get a really nasty tank drop off on those probes. But he is at the moment not aiming for that option. Shuttles there on the scene, ready to go in. He's going to try to zone away this engineering bay first with those Corsairs, but this barrack is also moving into location and is spawning both shuttles out there on the side. Which means now that these two Valkyries are trying to get in there, but they are not going in there. Actually, they're just hanging there on the side. Units moving onto the middle of the map, preparing themselves for another frontal attack, but this time around we see 5 tanks are in the front. And that has to be about 9 vultures there. Well, -1 because that was there on the side. So 8 vultures are in the front, ready to defend. Bunker, barracks, depot is a pretty nice wall there. But this should be capable of breaking through that wall. Because this is going to be unloaded on top of those tanks and bunkers there, right in between there. And Storm on top of those tanks. Storms the Valkyries there as well. Zealots are breaking through. Zealots are running through the hole there that's been created. Which now means that HamburgerSasu has to pull units from the back to the front to defend this, but this might be a little bit more than he can handle because these are a lot of Zealots, a lot of Dragoons there walking through. Storms there also doing a lot of damage, and this might actually already be the end of this game, unless Levi is incapable of reproducing his mass quick enough to send in another mass attack to follow up on this one. HamburgerSasu managed to defend this one off. Another small mass units here inside the base of Levi. His base looks bigger than it is at the moment. He's got a lot of space in between all of his buildings there. There's a lot of room here to still build more gateways. The upside is that he doesn't get blocked in his own base, but the downside is that he isn't as big as he appears to be. Although those soon-to-be level 2 upgrades on his weapon and level 1 upgrade on his armor might start making a difference very soon. He also is researching Scarab upgrade because he's switching up to more Reavers for potentially some Reaver Micro or a Reaver Scarab shot on those SCVs. But HamburgerSasu has been balling up Valkyries there on the bottom side to get bigger and bigger and make his defense against shuttles easier and easier. Once again, frontal attack happening here. HamburgerSasu very wisely put down some structures which will distract those Dragoons, which gives time to the tanks to start firing on the Dragoons. Soon to be level 2 armor, or level 1 armor and level 2 weapons for those tanks. Shuttle comes in there with 2 Reavers. He's going to unload there, or is he not? He's not going to unload there. He's going to fly. Oh, he's getting intercepted. Oh, he manages to unload both Reavers before they can even go down. Which now means that those Reavers are going to tear through those tanks very easily, very rapidly. And this means that HamburgerSasu is actually going to lose the game here because he's getting overrun. He managed... Or is he? Is he going to make it through? Tank there in the back, they're in between those factories doing a lot of work. Those vultures are in the front trying to lay down mines, but there is actually an observer here which is getting scanned and taken down by the Valkyries by pure coincidence. Now the Zealots are coming in, and those Zealots are going to have to aim and walk through the mines first before they can reach the tanks. Some of them reach the tanks there. Vultures are trying to clear out the Zealots, but the Zealots are simply too great in number, which now means that the tanks are in the back. Wait, the shuttle there comes in. He's laughing, he's laughing. Shuttle there arrives on the scene, Shuttle there storms, and he kills about 45 SCVs, in fact, go down to the storm there. Pretty well played there by HamburgerSasu, who managed to pull off... Well, he didn't pull over a great move. Actually, it was Levi who pulled over a great move. And actually, it looked like this build order from Levi was not going to work, but HamburgerSasu a bit of more than he could chew. And Levi's style actually played a really well-played match, because do keep in mind, it has been non-stop abuse and harass and attacks there from Levi from minute 7 or 6. So he has not relented, not given HamburgerSasu any time to breathe. These attacks are coming in non-stop. Non-stop attacks there from Levi. This is actually really well played. It's a little bit more in the older style of Protoss vs Terran, where you kind of rely on mass attacks more so than shuttle drops. But it really worked out. He did his part. He did what he had to do. And HamburgerSasu spread his units out too thin all across his entire base. Not a shuttle there coming in from the top side. Nothing to stop it from going in. This one might hit. There's 2 Reavers in there. 2 Reavers unloading next to the SCVs. 1 shot, 2 shot. And all the remaining SCVs he had on the minerals have gone down. Takes down the tank there as well, which now means those 2 Reavers there in the back have free fire on anything they can see. Also already an Arbiter out here for Levi. Levi is honestly really good at advancing his tech while attacking. I'm impressed by Levi there. He played this. It looked really messy to start with, and the attacks didn't seem to be all that effective up until about the 10 or 12 minute mark, when he suddenly started to break through, kept breaking through, and then simply overran his opponent and got him some pretty good shuttle drops on the minerals there. So well played by Levi Style in his first match, which means the score is now 0-1. As you can see there in the chat, although it's not that big, but you can see it nonetheless. Let's move on to game number 2, see how that one pans out, and see if HamburgerSasu can crawl himself back into this match, or if Levi Style is once again going to come out victorious and eclipse his opponent, so to speak. And so, for game number 2, as is tradition within the Korean scene, we are seeing HamburgerSasu flipping the tables in terms of which races they are picking, which leads us to HamburgerSasu once again playing the Protoss against the Terran. Not a matchup we often see him play, but it's a matchup he's pretty damn good in. Pretty damn good in. Or at. Pretty damn good at. I think that's the way you say it. So it actually comes down to whether Levi Style has a good Terran or not. He has a good Zerg. He has a pretty good Protoss as well, as we saw last game. But does he have a good Terran? That's the question of the day. Speeding up until the 2-minute mark, looks like HamburgerSasu goes for the very traditional build of 2 gateways into a nexus. We've reached the 2-minute mark, slowing down back to normal speed. 2 zealots are on the way here for HamburgerSasu. He's scouting the map, he went to the bottom side first, so it's going to take a while before he finds his opponent here on the other top corner of the map. Cross map of where his probe went to. And Levi went with a command center first. It's very greedy, but it might work. It often doesn't go that well against a 2 gateway opening, but if his opponent was to do, for example, a nexus into a forge opening, a +1 command center works out really well because there's no units out on the map that can threaten you. But because HamburgerSasu went for those 2 zealots that are now moving out over the map with those 2 gateways he built a little earlier, he's going to have some punching power there that Levi Style will not have that much of an answer against, because his marine count will be dreadfully low. His marine count will be dreadfully low. Even though it's only a 2 gateway zealot pump, we sometimes already see a normal 3 gateway, 3 barracks failing to hold well microed zealots. So let's see how this is going to work out. First, of course, this single zealot scouting the map is going to run into some problems there. Now he knows where his opponent is, so zealots all across the map are moving into formation, so to speak, grouping up in the middle. Levi is being aggressive and chasing the zealot, but now he knows that maybe I'm going a little bit too far. Maybe I gotta turn around, wait, bide my time, grow a little bit bigger, wait for that academy to finish so I can have medics and stim upgrade, and Engineering Bay there coming down as well for detection. HamburgerSasu has a cybernetics core just finishing up, and he went for 2 cybernetics cores. I think that's a mistake. I just think that's a mistake. I think he meant to build a forge and a cyber core, but now this is going to be very sticky here for HamburgerSasu. He does have a robo on the way, and zealots here are looking for confrontation. They killed a single marine there inside of the choke of Levi Style. Now hunting for those marines there in the back. He does have 6 zealots there, but firebats now spawning up there for Levi. HamburgerSasu knows that he built 2 cyber cores now because he saw that there. Built a forge finally, but it might be a little bit too... Nope. It's not going to be a little bit too late because those zealots are tearing through those marines there in the back exactly as I prophesized. And for... I forgot the word. Like to forecast something. Like a fortune teller. You know, what they say. They say something about the future. I forgot the word for it, but that's what I wanted to say. Anyway, those fire bats now running across the map, looking to get through and sneak into HamburgerSasu's base. HamburgerSasu instead sneaks into Levi's base with those 2 zealots and keeps those fire bats there and the marines there at bay. Barrack number 4 there on the way for Levi's style. He didn't opt for a factory just yet. Cannons now also being built there in the front for HamburgerSasu. Still, those zealots are running, forcing those marines to chase on the stim. 2 more zealots are coming in through the front, trying to deny the choke from going down. He kills the marine there, but the bunker does finish up. Zealots now running back to the bunker. He's gonna kill the bunker or he's gonna kill the SCV. Kills the SCV and retreats because he doesn't want to lose those zealots. The marines there still on the chase. Cannons are in the front, have finished up. 2 robos there have their shuttle on the way, and soon, of course, once the support bay finishes, 2 reavers on the way there as well. Got zealot lags on the way here too. Level 1 weapon upgrade in the forge is on the way. Well, you could say it's being forged. Maybe that's a nice way of saying it. So 2 reavers here on the way. Bunch of zealots there as well. A lot of marines and medics here on the middle of the map. And they're, I bet, going to try to force their way through the front here. But this is a lot of zealots there. There's a total of 8 zealots there. 2 more are on the way. Reavers almost finished up there as well. So this attack with those marines is not going to get much results. Unless this single fire bat there manages to sneak through and go for the probester in the back. But I don't see that happening. Well, he goes in here. He goes in. Tries to go in, but he sees so many zealots and immediately like, oh, hell no, I'm not going in there. I'm going to pull back right now. Turn tail and probably retreat back to base, which is what he should be doing because those reavers are out here on the map, and he should know by now that reavers are probably spawning because this is about the average time for reavers to be spawning, around 6:15 or 6:20. He scans it because he knows. He sees the zealot lags have also finished there with the scan upgrade. Just to turn tail, return back to his base really quick. He's keeping his marines out here on the middle of the map trying to snipe the shuttle, but he sees the zealots are coming for him. He turns around though, he starts to stim. Keeps those zealots at bay for a little while, now trying to get back, but those zealots are catching his units out. Reavers there. Reavers unloading. Reavers have free fire on the bunker. There's no tank out on the map yet. No siege mode either, because he went for the delayed factor because he wanted to add on that single barrack first, which he was somewhat forced to do because, of course, he went for the delayed barracks to begin with, which delayed everything, so to speak. So he goes for the turret first, but his shuttle does go down to the turret, which means that now those reavers have to crawl forward very slowly. But he's sending that shuttle there to the front with another reaver in there, another reaver and shuttle there on the way as well. Zealot's trying to get a pretty good surround on those marines. Marines moving in between his buildings to prevent those zealots from getting a surround, creating a small artificial bottleneck for those zealots to go through. Although this means that now the tank siege is up. The reavers are taking down all the marines and all the tanks there in the middle, and the reaver there unloads, and he's going to go for the reaver shuttle. Micro picks up 2 reavers and micros them backwards pretty nicely. You get some pretty beautiful shots off on those tanks, and it looks like Levi style here is done for. And that beautiful scarab hit right into the middle pack of all those units did the trick, and HamburgerSasu wins within only 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Wait, did Levi style just go for 4 command centers in total? He's an absolute madman. He went for 4 command centers despite staring down the situation he was looking into. Despite the scenario, despite the information he had, he went for 4 command centers in total. That's a little bit too ballsy there. No wonder he lost. No wonder he lost. If he could have gone for faster factors and probably held that frontal attack there if he had tanks there in the front, sieged up to fend off those shuttles. Well, those breathers, I mean, he could have probably held this. It's kind of a demise of his own making, so to speak. Of course, I do think HamburgerSasu would have had enough of the chops to make sure he would win the game regardless of this. Nonetheless, let's move to game number 3. The score is 1-1. 1 for HamburgerSasu, 1 for Levi. So now we've got game number 3 loading up. And because they've already played Protoss and Terran in mirror matchups, they're now going for a different matchup, which is Zerg. HamburgerSasu on the Zerg here. He has a pretty damn good Zerg in Zerg versus Terran. And Levi, of course, is then on the Terran here on the bottom side. Well, not really the bottom side, but below HamburgerSasu. The middle of the right and the top right of the map. Speeding up the first 2 minutes. And I'm trying to decipher what they're talking about. Trying to decipher what they're talking about. HamburgerSasu starts off really spicy. I'm just gonna slow this down because this is quite spicy. It starts off with the pool before the hatchery. And it just so happens to be that Levi style started off with what looks to be a factory built order, but it also gives him the option to go for a bunker rush. But the bunker rush is going to fail because HamburgerSasu has Zerglings already on the way. Although Levi style is busy trying to fight those drones that are in the back, bunker now being built there, but Zerglings are already on the way. So of 6 Zerglings. So actually going for that early pool is actually working out in the advantage of HamburgerSasu here, because now he can fight against this bunker rush. Although he has to pull those drones back there, he's going to have to build Sunguns behind the hatchery outside of the range of the bunker. Zerglings arriving on the scene, but he's going to walk through and try to intercept Marines, but he actually misclicks a little bit. Which means those Marines are arriving on the scene, so he goes for the base there with those 4 Zerglings trying to kill the Marines there, trying to stop the supply line from coming in, while he is probably going to lose that hatchery there in the front very, very slowly, unless he makes more Zerglings and gets us around on the bunker, which I'm sure he will be capable of doing. But first he tries to catch that Marine, now he pulls back, and he's going to set up that surround on the bunker with those Zerglings here. As if he there scouts, he sees only 6 drones there. That's not a very big amount. And here comes the surround, right onto that bunker. The SCV runs back to base, Marines unloading and running for their lives, trying to go deeper into the fight, it appears. No, he's going to go for drones, but there's 2 Zerglings here ready to fight and kill those Marines. Marines went the wrong way basically, but he's going to try to kill at least 1 drone. 1 drone goes down, so at least he did something with those 2 Marines. Zerglings now arriving on the scene. He sees 2 factories there and a barrack there as well. Tries to get in between, but there's a bunker there in the back being protected by Zealots. Zerglings finds a Vulture, gets us around on the Vulture. But as things are looking right now, he can probably pick off these 2 depots here on the bottom side and pick off this starport there as well before the other Vulture there arrives. So he goes for the depot, he goes for the starport, splits up actually, he tries to get both at the same time, but eventually decides to go for just the starport. The starport's going to go down there. He's getting repaired though. He's repairing the starport, so actually these Zerglings are not gonna get much done. Single creep colony there in the front, ready to build a sunken. He's on 10 drones now, got slowed down a little bit. But the starport has got me worried, because the starport is going to get some raids out on the map, and raids out on the map means that HamburgerSasu is going to lose his overlords, which is not something he wants to do. He is not really in the mood to lose overlords. And he cannot afford to lose overlords, because that just puts Levi style even further ahead than he already is. So he's got 2 tanks on the way already, only a single Vulture there with the purpose of fighting against those Zerglings, so no more need for Vultures. Still repairing. Alright, Wraith comes out. He knows that there's an Overlord there right on top of the choke, so he goes for the choke first and finds the Overlord. Overlord's gonna go down very soon, and that means that HamburgerSasu is going for Hydralisks on single gas. But he cannot make any Hydralisks anymore because he needs Overlords. Well, Hydralisk there is out. He tries to kill the Overlord with some sweet Raid Micro, goes back in. Really great multitasking here from Levi. Raid almost goes down. Overlord stays alive just barely. Same here for the base though. He's once again adding on 2 command centers. That's very greedy. Just as greedy as last time. 2 tanks there on the middle. He's making more tanks there on the way. He's mostly just staying very small. He wants to scale up. He doesn't want to go for the kill right off the bat. HamburgerSasu still staying very small. 23 drones now in total. 26 for Levi style. He's adding on another hatchery. And he's got Hydralisk speed on the way. He's not making more Hydralisks though. He's staying on just 2 Hydras to fight off those raids. And only a single sunken there in the front. He's relocating his tanks to this portion here where they are more safe, where he can take down the single sunken there in the front. Once that single sunken is down, he can probably roll right in with the Vultures and the tanks. But whether he's going to, I'm not sure. He has the option to. But whether he's going to, that is the main question of today. Hydralisk range on the way there for HamburgerSasu. 2 more hatcheries being added on, and he's going for a lair, although the lair is quite delayed, quite late into the game. More tanks finishing up. He's going to put them all there on the ledge, which is going to make it impossible for HamburgerSasu to walk through this corridor here. It's going to be a waiting game for both players there, because Levi is not being aggressive at the moment. He's just camping it out, so to speak, or mostly focused on keeping HamburgerSasu boxed in. So he's playing defensive. So HamburgerSasu is, at the moment, because of those tanks behind the hill, not able of playing this offensively. He has to pretty much sit and wait until he has a good answer against what Levi is doing. He's going for burrow upgrade. I kind of like the burrow upgrade choice, because I think I know what's going to be coming in here. I think I see what's going to come in. But first, those tanks there sieging up within the range of those Hydralisks. Get a shot up on the Hydralisks. Hydralisks have to pull back. Please pull back. I think HamburgerSasu is going to burrow his Hydralisks, wait for the tanks to be physically on top of the Hydralisks, unburrow them, and then abuse the fact that the tanks are in siege mode to kill the tanks. Once again, they're right there on the hunt for overlords, but oh, HamburgerSasu being pulled forward. He does get some beautiful shots off on those raids and the vulture there, so the raids and the vulture go down. More mines there are being placed there in the front of the tanks. Tanks up on the hill as well, which looks very bad for HamburgerSasu, because at the moment he has nothing they can get on top of the hills. He does have a Queen's Nest on the way there. He does have Lurker Aspect soon on the way as well. I hope so. But I think he's going to go for that. Wait, Vulture there makes his Vulture goes down. He gets some information there. So Levi now knows what HamburgerSasu is up to. He didn't see the Hive though. So the Hive is unseen. Just like the Queen's Nest, unseen. He's making a second Queen's Nest. HamburgerSasu is making a lot of duplicate buildings this series by accident. This is supposed to be a spire, but he made a Queen's Nest by accident. They're completely different hotkeys, but sometimes in the heat of the moment, you can make these small, tiny mistakes that might come back to haunt him. 25 drones, 62 STVs for Levi. His worker count exploded off of the back of those 2 extra command centers he made really early on. Vulture's now also moving into the battle to set up mines. Mines to keep those Hydralisks away, basically. He's going to roll up tanks right behind that line of mines. And he's very slowly advancing forward his line of tanks with the support of those mines, which is going to make it very difficult for those Hydralisks to attack those tanks. But there is that one-off chance that HamburgerSasu gets a really good surround on all those mines, all those tanks with his Hydralisks. But because do note, he can see all the mines with these overlords, which means he can start taking down those mines with his Hydralisks. But the question is whether these tanks will do enough damage or not. If the tanks deal enough damage against those very well spread out Hydralisks, this game is going to go into Levi's favor. He's going to go for those drones there, really greedy, but he's getting some results there, because every single drone that HamburgerSasu loses at this point will hurt him. Significantly, I don't know, but at least it will hurt him. Also, the time is ticking. The clock is working against HamburgerSasu, because Levi now is really strong, really big. He's got a lot of eco, so we can add on a lot of factories, and the time is ticking, because once Levi has too many factories, HamburgerSasu will be incapable, physically speaking, of making a comeback. Also, only is now finishing the spire, because he made that second Queen's Nest, and he only realized after the Queen's Nest finished, which means he doesn't have Guardians or Mutalisks out to defend or attack against this. If he had Mutalisks in the mix as well, this could have been a different game, but I don't see him winning this at all. So look at this, a lot of Hydralisks there, but a lot of tanks here as well. And those tanks up on the hill are gonna be making the big difference, because they are just so hard to physically attack. HamburgerSasu pulls back, knows he has to buy himself some time. Levi is very slowly pulling forward, getting closer and closer to that mineral line. Scorches are out of the map. Scorches are hunting for the vessels, but the vessels are taking those Scorches before they can physically attack or hit or reach those vessels. Inching closer forward, leapfrogging his tanks, very slowly moving forward. And HamburgerSasu goes in with the attack, but that's a lot of tanks. He doesn't have... Oh, he got the drones with the Overlord. Ouch, that's painful. Gets the Divider there as well. Hydralisks going in for the kill, but all the Hydralisks go down before they can clear out the tanks. And Consume is still on the way, but he's no Defilers, no Minerals, so this is impossible for HamburgerSasu to win. And Levi's style wins with a very weird, unorthodox strategy and build order, but it actually looks to be a really good one. Levi's style has a really unique playstyle that I haven't seen yet, but it all works out perfectly fine. I'm impressed. This game was very weird for HamburgerSasu because everything worked out against him and everything worked out in favor of Levi. So really well played there by Levi, once again. I'm impressed. So the score is 2-1. Well, 2-1. 2 wins for Levi, 1 win for HamburgerSasu. Let's move on to game number 4, which is going to be a pretty big game. Without further ado, let's move on. So, because we have had the trend of mirroring their races in this series, we're going to have a Zerg versus Terran once again, but this time around we've got HamburgerSasu on the Terran here on the bottom middle of the map, and Levi is the Zerg, the orange Zerg, on the other side of the map, the top left corner. Now the question is, can the Hamburger man crawl and claw himself back into his match? Or is this match, well, into the series I mean, or is this match going to conclude this series and put an end to this once and for all? Speeding up the first minute, looks like Hamburger is going for a bunker rush, it appears. He's going for a bunker rush. Barrack, supply. Depot there as well. Gonna slow this down because we have hit 2-minute mark, but he hasn't found his opponent yet. But I think he knows where his opponent is because he saw the drone scouting the map there, just making sure that he's not getting rushed. So he went for the pool there as well. Pool is finished, circles are on the way, bunkers being built there in the front, Marines are on the way, but they're kind of far away. Same for this SCV there. This Marine will arrive there first, but the circles are going to be finishing up before that happens or not. No, Zerkers are going to finish up now. Marine arrives on the scene and the bunker is right about finishing up. Sunken there in the back though is on the way. He's going to have to attack the Sunken while those Zerkers are spawning, but now he's going to load up those Marines into the bunker, and this might actually already be defended by Levi. Unless that Sunken there goes down. He goes for the SCV. Oh, he killed one SCV. Is Sunken there? Is he going to go down? It goes down. Another Sunken there being morphed in the back. He's got to unload, and he does, but the Sunken is very close to finishing. He pulls up. Oh wait, he might actually kill those Marines. This bunker is too far away from the Sunken there behind the hatchery, so it cannot hit the Sunken there, but it can hit this hatchery. Gonna have to repair the bunker, but the Sunken there in the back deals more damage than this SCV can single-handedly repair. So unlike the game between, unlike the last game, which was kind of facilitated by the fact that Levi was closer to HamburgerSasu than HamburgerSasu is now close to Levi, the bunker rush somewhat fails, and Levi's style comes out on top here, doesn't lose all that much, loses a couple of his Zerglings, loses a single Sunken, but mostly stays just fine. He already has Gaster on the way, Lair also on the way. This is a very early Lair, well, not very early. Usually we see it at finishing or starting at about 3:30, but he started it at about 3:45. Still an early Lair though, still pretty early. It gives him the option to have his tech out on the map quite soon. Probably Mutalisks, I assume, otherwise we would be seeing a Hydralisk Den being built right about now. But first he's waiting for his 2 Overlords. He's going for gas number 2. Still no Hydralisk Den. Another drone there going to the front to build another Sunken. He's got 3 Sunkens there in the front. HamburgerSasu built a 3rd barrack there to make more Marines. He didn't go for a +1 command center or a +2 command center. He's staying on a single one. He's got stim upgrade there on the way. He's got medics on the way here as well, already physically on location actually. So I might try to stim through the front there, but Levi is not cutting corners. There's 2 Sunkens here being built. 1 more on the way there for a total of 6 Sunkens to defend against that Marine push. He tries to go in, but there he sees that's a lot of Sunkens there. He tries to ball his units here in the bottom corner, tries to go in, but this is being way too greedy, which is one of HamburgerSasu's staple weaknesses. He is pretty darn greedy, as you can see right here. He tries to sneak his fire bats through, but the fire bats, oh no, one of them makes it through. Will it arrive on the scene? Will it arrive on destination? Will it get those drones or not? Oh, he got on the drones. Eek. Oh, pretty sweet move there. The stim upgrade ended, and Levi simply attacks the fire bat with his drones and kills the fire bat. Nothing to worry about there. 25 drones in total for him, and 25 SCVs in total for HamburgerSasu. Putting more SCVs there to the middle of the map because he wants to start building structures on the middle to shorten the distance to his opponent. This is a very short distance here for the tank to travel, so we can start sieging up immediately and start pushing these sunkens here in the front within a matter of seconds. So 2 SCVs here. It's going to build an engineering bay. Well, turrets because a bunker. Engineering bay is being built here in his base. Alright, so he's not going to use engineering bay to hover on top of the sunkens to extend the tank range. Instead, he's going to build bunkers here and possibly some turrets in the case his opponent is going for mule discs, which he is, or he's going for workers, which he is not. But nonetheless, you need turrets for both of them. That's why he's building these turrets there, because that makes it physically impossible for those mule discs to actually get some great harass down on those tanks and on the marines here using the hill to deny vision. Like he would do this, he would fly here, fly in, pick up submarines and fly back into the safety of that hill. Although he does get some pretty good hits off there on the tank, but loses a couple of his mule discs. See, 2 of his mule discs go down, almost lost a third one. There, third one almost dead. This tank there is sieging up a little bit too far away from the turrets, but actually doesn't get that much damage down on the tank, although he's still using that hill vision quite well, but most of the mules go down there to the marines and the turrets. Both players are dead. What? That was some beautiful back and forth dancing with those marines and those mulisks. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. But most of HamburgerSasu. Anyway, so the tank push here has started. He's repairing the tank to avoid it from going down, but he also blocked this tank from moving forward, so it's to siege it up there in the back. More mules have arrived on the scene. He doesn't have a hive on the way yet, has another hatchery there being built, no queen's nest on the way. He's mostly relying on his mules, but the mules are not getting much results, although they are slowing down his opponent quite significantly. But he's also slowing himself down, while HamburgerSasu is getting more and more SCVs and more buildings and structures there on the middle of the map, so he is growing stronger and scaling up more so than Levi is. At the moment, he's doing a great job of keeping HamburgerSasu away from his base. Hatchery number 4 there in the base, being built. Siege tank sieging up a little bit closer because they want to kill that sunken there. Oh, this sunken there is physically able. Oh, the tank goes down, but a couple of mule discs go down there as well. Keeps adding on mule discs, keeps buying himself time. Will it be enough time though? That's the question, because Radiate is on the way, Vessel is on the scene, and a Radiate on those mule discs could just spell the end of Levi's style. If the Radiate does hit the target quite well and does damage to all the mule discs that are there. But still, at the moment, he's still trying to weave in and out with the hill vision, which is actually now being denied. Like, the advantage of the hill is being denied by the vessel, which has vision on top of the hills. So that little trick no longer works, so to speak. He's no longer capable of denying vision of his mule discs by weaving in and out of the hill. So he's actually keeping his mule discs there in the back, waiting for HamburgerSasu to overextend with something so he can pick it off. He's dancing back and forth. APM is really high there. Gets a beautiful... Ooh, he's failing to split them up. He's failing to split them up. He splits them up eventually, but that's a lot of damage there on his mule discs. It took him 4 attempts to split his mule discs, which is really, really bad luck there. HamburgerSasu slowly moving forward, building there on the side just to spot things out. 2 turrets there on his command center for those mule discs or for lurkers coming in trying to kill his workers, which is something he has died to in the past. I think in the video between HamburgerSasu and JH/Voss, lurkers were his greatest foe. Well, now he goes in with those marines. Stim upgrade is there on the way. Tank's also rolling in. He's gonna just physically force himself through those Sunkers, but that might actually be the wrong choice now because all the Marines go down, and dead Marines means that there's nothing there to defend the tanks from the Mulisks. So the Mulisks are actually coming out on top of it, although he's trying to get a radiate on those drones, but there's no energy on the vessel to radiate the drones. Which now means that the game is all in the hands of Levi. Because HamburgerSasu is going to have to wait here on the middle for a little bit longer, whereas Levi is not planning on sitting around any longer, and he goes straight for HamburgerSasu's base with those Mulisks. So it's a beautiful flock of Mulisks stacking up, reaching destination, arriving on the scene. There's only 2 turrets here that can fend them off. We've got a couple of Goliaths and Marines there as well. Marines are now stepping back to the base, but there's only 5 Marines there coming on. 6 of them actually. 7. And they're doing a lot of damage there. A lot of... Oh, 2 Valkyries there as well. Levi tries to split up his Mulisks, but his Mulisks are taking a lot of damage from those 2. Vessel there as well. Radiate comes down, although he doesn't want to because Radiate might as well kill his own SCVs. Now the Goliaths are trying to defend, but this is some great damage going down here. Oh, there is the Radiate because the Mulisk... Oh, because the Mulisk moved away from the SCVs, he can radiate the Mulisks. As long as the Mulisks stay on top of the SCVs, he cannot radiate the Mulisks, because then he would also put his own SCVs in danger of dying to his own radiate. So Scorches and Mulisks moving across the map here, trying to kill this middle portion on the map here with his Mulisks. He can't go for this part, but he can go for this part. You're damn right he can. Scorches there hanging in between the middle and the base. But any vessels moving out, just like this one, will get caught out by those 2 Scorches. There he goes, flies straight into them. Boom, down it goes. Which now means that this entire middle portion here is in jeopardy. Goliaths are moving in, but that's not a lot of Goliaths. He does have the Goliath range up. No, it's not finished. It's actually just now on the way. Like right here, it's on the way. The Karen booster upgrade. But he does force the Mulisks away. Even though the Mulisks are stronger than these Goliaths and Marines, he can actually fight this. But he decides against this. Meanwhile, in his base, he's got the Queen's Nest. He's adding on more Sunkens and Spores to defend himself, although he doesn't have an Evo Chamber, so Sunkens is going to be. High Fire on the way, almost finished up. 2 more hatcheries there on the way as well, and Mulisks are flying over the map. On the right side of HamburgerSasu's base, hunting for SCVs once again. But this time around, there's about 7 or 8 Goliaths there, ready to scare them away. So away they go. Actually, it's 9 Goliaths there. And they have their Karen booster upgrade soon as well. So he just pulls away, flies away, and licks his wounds. Licks his wounds because he knows he has to preserve himself. He's putting his barracks on top of his command center to make it physically harder for Levi to click on the command center, to muta-bomb the command center. As you can see right now, he's trying to cover it up. Well, there's still a small portion where you can click on it, right? Wait, no. I can't click on it. Ah, there it is. I can click on it right here. I can still click on it. So HamburgerSasu is just sacrificing these buildings around the middle. He finished his current booster upgrade with this machine shop. So this has all lost its function. This is honestly a lot of Mulisks. I think that's a total of 24 or something. But even more there on the way. He really likes Mulisks. Although, do note, he is preparing himself for the tech switch into the Filers with Dark Swarm and Zerglings and possibly Lurkers. Oh, he scans it. HamburgerSasu scans all of it. He knows all of it. He knows everything. He knows everything that Levi Style is up to. So this might actually put HamburgerSasu in a great spot there. Although he's only on 54 SCVs because he lost some SCVs to those Mulisks earlier. Because Levi is on 45. He does have 3 armories, so upgrades are on the way. He's also adding on a lot of buildings very, very quickly. But Levi is not planning on giving him the time to do so because he's already looking, touching and feeling where you can go and where there's an opening in HamburgerSasu's base. Because giving your opponent too much time to do as they please and build up to become way too big is never the option you want to go for, because that might put your life in jeopardy. So Stargates have finished up. He's got a total of 6 of them. He's got a lot of room to build even more factories, although at the moment he's only on 6 factories. Oh, that's a couple of Marines there. Levi now spreading out his overlords all over the map, so he has more vision of the sides, of maybe vessels that are trying to be sneaky and fly in for the drone hit. He's mixing in some scorches as well, so that vessels immediately get cut out by the scorches. Pretty smart move there. So adding on more Evo chambers for upgrades, because he needs those upgrades, because he doesn't have upgrades at the moment. He's hitting that 60 drone mark, although these drones are moving to the front to build more sunkens, to build himself a little of a buffer zone. Just like this is a buffer zone that HamburgerSasu first has to push through with his tanks and his units before he can kill his opponent, or kill the production. So let's see what's going to happen. We've got Plague on the way there for Levi. Oops, my mouse. My hand is getting a bit sore. So I'm going to use my mouse keys now. I'm not going to use my mouse for a little while. Hope you don't mind. So Lurker Swarm here on the middle to buy himself time and keep HamburgerSasu out. Although the Lurker Swarm just ended, he has to throw down another one. Also Mule is flying out over the sides to clear out those pesky marines that are providing HamburgerSasu with vision. Although now he flies into some Valkyries, and Valkyries are actually Mulelisk's greatest enemy. The greatest counter. Mulelisk don't do all that great against a pretty big stack of Valkyries, and I think this is about 8 or so Valkyries moving over the map here. It's exactly 8. Nice. So buildings being built there on the side, but those buildings are getting taken down by the Mulelisks. And the Lurker Swarm here on the middle actually failed to extend it, so he loses about 4 of his Lurkers before throwing down another. He's focusing on too many things at once. He's flying away, running away from those Valkyries, trying to buy himself time, but in the meanwhile, as those Valkyries have cleared out things, these two vessels are trying to sneak through, but they fly right into Devourers, right into Mulelisks. Those Devourers are a pretty great option against the Valkyries. So it might shut down the Valkyrie option, but there's also still a lot of these Goliaths. The Goliaths, though, are on the middle of the map. Dark Swarm once again ends, which does give HamburgerSasu the cue to move forward, but he killed his own vessels, so he cannot actually move forward without detection. He does have scans, but he's actually deciding to pull back to his own base. Mules are spread out over the map. Levi is doing a great job multitasking his groups of Mulelisks while building his own base. He's got a lot of Defilers there, more Mulelisks, a lot of Overlords, and he got every single upgrade he needs on the way. Also has Ultralisk Carapace upgrade there on the way. A lot of Valkyries there moving over the map like a flock of eagles hunting for prey. He finds some prey, but the Devourers are there to stop it all from happening. Great debuff there coming down on those Valkyries, but now look at this. Dropships are coming in there as well. Dropships are going straight for the mineral. There's tanks, Goliaths, everything that he wants in there. Even an SCV in there. And he unloads right next to the drones, and he's gonna get a drone kill. He's gonna kill all the drones there. Bam! Look at the drones going down. Only 35 of them left. That's half of the drone count decimated. Mule is now done with killing the Valkyries, are going straight for the tanks. And he might actually get the hive there. Nah, not the hive. He doesn't get the hive yet, although it is on low HP now. But this move there from HamburgerSasu does give HamburgerSasu a lot of leeway, because now Levi has to spend a lot of minerals on rebuilding his drone count, which gives HamburgerSasu the chance to push through this frontal portion there and make some progress. Although first he has to get bigger, because he's still only on 6 factories and 6 starports, which is not that great. Doesn't give him much ability to reproduce his mass all that quick, although he is in gas problems at the moment, because he's only mining from 8 gas, which is not that much. So you might want to get a little bit more gas, a couple more factories before you start thinking about throwing away another mass attack just like that. But do mind, even though HamburgerSasu's base is small and his gas is low, he did get some results. Also, I have a theory on this map that being on the 6 or 12 spot makes your gas income lower than if you were on one of the other spots. Because there's something weird about these SCVs moving back and forth here. It looks a little bit slower. You you can see the income. So he accidentally walks his tanks into those lurkers. The Dark Swarm comes down just in time from Levi to stop. Oh, he tries to pick us forward. Very aggressive move there from Levi. He does lose 2 of his lurkers, only 1 of them alive. Gets a plague down on those mech units there as well. And HamburgerSasu now tries to be very aggressive on his own right by forcing his Goliaths in to kill the Defiler there. But he ends up sacrificing his tanks as well, which is not that smart. But he does kill the Defiler there in the back, which means that now another Defiler has to be moved to the front to extend the Dark Swarm duration so that the HamburgerSasu cannot move through. Engineering base there being built there on the sides, turrets there as well. The Devouras are going for the engineering base. The game is in somewhat of an impasse where both players are not really physically capable of busting down the front door of their opponent, but they're aiming for it, they're setting up for it. Because look here, HamburgerSasu is listening to my advice and adding on, I think, about 5 more factories for a total of 6 and 5, for a total of 11. And I think he's going to fill out his entire base there, so he'll be on 20 factories very soon. He doesn't need more starports, because 6 starports is honestly all you need. Science facility there on the side, because it just takes up space in your base if you don't need it anymore. So lurkers are balling up. Levi has recovered from that hit on his drone count, although he, at the moment, forgot to put new drones on his gas. But at least he's got a lot of drones on his minerals, so he's fine in that regard. The Valkyries are still hunting. HamburgerSasu is taking his time pushing forward, and the Devouras are going straight for the Valkyries, debuffing them, lowering their damage significantly, which now means that the Valkyries are going to have to be... I'm going to have to pull back. Or commit. He's going to commit to it. He's just going to commit to it, and eventually the Valkyrie splash damage out-damages the Devouras, and the Devouras all perish, and the Valkyries come out on top, which now means HamburgerSasu can hunt for Overlords and Guardians, which he is doing, while at the same time just happily throwing away his Valkyrie count, because he knows he can replace it with something else. Lurker Swarm there in the front still exists. Tanks there getting caught out by Hydralisks and Guardians, with which Levi is now moving across the map, and HamburgerSasu's army size is still stupidly small. This game really looks very uncharacteristic from HamburgerSasu. He might be out of shape, or maybe he's just getting caught off guard too often, and maybe Levi's style is just playing this amazingly well, but HamburgerSasu's options have all been cut off, basically. Levi's style has a really good Zerg. I am honestly very impressed by him. He's doing everything correctly. His oversight is just amazing. So he goes in. Guardians getting cut out by the Valkyries, nothing there to debuff the damage from the Valkyries, and the Hydralisks physically incapable of actually dealing damage to those tanks. A couple of workers coming into the scene there as well, but they go down before they can burrow up, which now means that Levi is going to take this time where HamburgerSasu is pulled back into his base to clear out this top side there and get control back over spot number 12. Whereas these Valkyries are gonna go in with those vessels hunting for the drones, but Levi sees it happening. So Levi's going to try to intercept the vessels, and he manages to, which means HamburgerSasu is forced to retreat back to base, back to the bottom side there. Gets a kill on the Defiler, but the Defiler gets a plague off on the 2 vessels. Quick thinking there, quick reaction. He's very aware. He sees everything that's happening on the map and responds to it, despite his APM having dropped below 300. Well below 300, but he's pulling off everything he has to quite well, although, look at this. Mass tank attack there from HamburgerSasu, but Levi's style gets a pretty great surround there, or a spread on his mass, although it's not enough. It's definitely not enough. Although those lurkers there are looking quite menacing, because there's a Defiler there with Dark Swarm, and the lurkers there are now burrowing up next to the tanks, and the tanks have to run away. The siege of tanks have already been forfeited. Forsaken, but it highlights you on the side. Forsaken likewise, and cut out by the tanks. Tanks there unsieging, Guardians going for the tanks, but the Valkyries are there to clear out the tanks. And this attack from Levi does prune the amount of tanks on the middle there by quite a bit. But HamburgerSasu comes out on top. And he's filled out his base with a lot of factories. He does need a couple more SCVs there on his minerals, because his income is quite low. It's quite low. He has like 25 SCVs mining minerals, which is not that much. Although these Ultralisks, they're sneaking through, well, oh my god, this is going to be painful, I hope. Although a lot of siege up tanks are in between those factories, and a lot of dropships and Valkyries there, going for the kill on the Hive. And the drones, once again, he gets spotted out, but Levi just sent all of his units away to HamburgerSasu's base, which now means the tank is going to be unloading here right on the scene, right next to the Hive, and they're going to start shooting on the Sunkens first. Take on the Sunkens, now sieging up. Valkyries are there to take down all the air units, kills all the drones there on the scene. Plate comes down on the Valkyries and the tanks, but the tanks are now shooting on the Hive. The Hive is going to go down very quick, although units here in the front coming down as well. In between those factories, there's lurkers there in the mix as well, but the Hive there is going to go... It's going to go down. The Hive goes down in the end. It was very close there, very close. Only one tank was remaining, but it goes down in the end. But look at this. Levi style is penetrating through with the front of the tank there on HamburgerSasu. HamburgerSasu has nothing left to defend himself with because his income, as I mentioned before, is simply too low to reproduce his entire mass within seconds because he doesn't have enough income. Well, Levi at the moment also has no income, but Levi has a huge mass moving cross map ready to finish off his opponent. And HamburgerSasu only has a single tank there in the back, tanks spawning as well, but those tanks are simply not enough to take down all these Ultralisks, all these Hydralisks. And it looks like Levi's style makes a very unexpected, beautiful, strong move there on HamburgerSasu, who spread himself too thin by having a lot of supply in those dropships, and then flying his entire supply count into Levi's base, losing that supply count and having nothing left to defend. And look at this, both players are chatting, and Levi style knows he has won the game, which now means the score is 3-1. 3-1 for Levi. That's impressive. That's impressive. Levi plays a really good Zerg here. HamburgerSasu got slowed down significantly time and time again, and then slowed himself down by having too few SCVs, which is not something you always feel or are aware of, but you do have a sense. As the more you play, the more experienced you become, you develop this sense where you can see that your income is too low, too slow, and then instinctively you add on more SCVs to patch that up. Which for some reason he did not, even though HamburgerSasu has like 6,000 games of 1 versus 1 experience, so he should have known to patch up his SCV count to make himself a little bit bigger. But he didn't. I'm kind of questioning why. But nonetheless, Levi's style is showing himself to be honestly one of the best, fastest players in Korea. Like, some of the stuff he does looks weird, but it just works. Everything works. He's just so crisp and clean. And smart. Most of all, he's very smart. I'm so impressed. So impressed. I can't stress enough. But there's one more replay. There's one more replay. Which I'm not going to cast, because Levi's style has already won the set. And the last replay is very short. And I'm honestly running out of vocal endurance here. My voice is just completely run out. So I'm gonna have to call it short here. Or am I? Yeah, I'm gonna call it short. I'm sorry. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this series with Levi style and HamburgerSasu playing 1 versus 1. Levi style coming out on top with 3 wins. And HamburgerSasu coming out with a single win. Levi style shows his dominance once again and conquers HamburgerSasu once again. Thanks for watching, goodbye, and have a good day.